Diverting attention is manipulation of focus and awareness. Its attributes are distraction, misdirection, confusion, redirection. Often use symbols: magician's wand, smoke, mirror. Diverting attention is a manipulation technique where the manipulator distracts the victim from important issues by focusing on trivial or irrelevant matters. This tactic is used to confuse the victim and prevent them from addressing the real problem. During a company meeting, the CEO, Mark, diverts attention from the company's financial troubles by focusing on minor office policy changes. The employees become preoccupied with the new policies, ignoring the underlying financial issues. This allows Mark to avoid scrutiny and maintain control, showcasing the effectiveness of diverting attention. Minimization is manipulation of perception and impact. Its attributes are downplaying, understatement, dismissal, rationalization. Often use symbols: small scale, shrinking object, whisper. Minimization is a manipulation technique where the manipulator downplays the significance of their actions or the victim's feelings. This tactic is used to make the victim feel as though their concerns are unimportant or exaggerated, thereby reducing their impact. After making a hurtful comment, Julia tells her friend, Tom, that he's overreacting and it was just a joke. Tom feels invalidated and begins to question whether his feelings are justified. Julia's minimization of the incident undermines Tom's emotional response and maintains her dominance in the relationship. Intimidation is manipulation of fear and compliance. Its attributes are threats, fear, coercion, dominance. Often use symbols: fist, shadow, dark cloud. Intimidation is a manipulation technique where the manipulator uses threats or fear to control the victim's actions. This tactic relies on creating an environment of anxiety and insecurity, compelling the victim to comply to avoid potential harm. A landlord, Bob, subtly threatens his tenant, Lisa, with eviction if she continues to complain about the apartment's conditions. Fearful of losing her home, Lisa stops voicing her concerns and complies with Bob's demands. This demonstrates how intimidation can effectively control and silence victims. Lying is manipulation of truth and trust. Its attributes are deception, falsehood, misinformation, betrayal. Often use symbols: forked tongue, mask, spider web. Lying is a manipulation technique where the manipulator deliberately provides false information to deceive the victim. This tactic undermines trust and distorts reality, often leading the victim to make decisions based on incorrect information. Michael tells his colleague, Emma, that their boss has decided to promote him instead of her, even though it's not true. Emma, believing the lie, stops putting effort into her work, and Michael's chances of actually getting the promotion improve. This highlights the manipulative power of lying to alter perceptions and outcomes. False promises is manipulation of expectations and hope. Its attributes are deception, empty promises, disappointment, false hope. Often use symbols: broken chain, empty gift box, hollow tree. False promises are a manipulation technique where the manipulator makes commitments they have no intention of keeping. This tactic is used to control the victim by giving them false hope and stringing them along to achieve the manipulator's own goals. A politician, Susan, promises significant improvements in public services to gain votes. After being elected, she fails to follow through on her commitments, leaving the voters disappointed and disillusioned. This showcases how false promises can be used to manipulate and control by exploiting people's hopes. Blame shifting is manipulation of accountability and responsibility. Its attributes are deflection, accusation, denial, avoidance. Often use symbols: pointing finger, shield, passing baton. Blame shifting is a manipulation technique where the manipulator transfers responsibility for their own mistakes or misdeeds onto the victim. This tactic is used to avoid accountability and create confusion and self-doubt in the victim. During a team project, Mark makes a critical error but convinces everyone that it was Sarah's fault. Sarah feels guilty and anxious, despite not being responsible. Mark avoids blame and maintains his standing in the team, illustrating the effectiveness of blame shifting. Feigning ignorance is manipulation of knowledge and understanding. Its attributes are pretended ignorance, denial, confusion, evasion. Often use symbols: question mark, blindfold, empty book. Feigning ignorance is a manipulation technique where the manipulator pretends not to understand or know something to evade responsibility or manipulate the situation. This tactic creates confusion and frustration for the victim, making it difficult to resolve issues. When confronted about missing funds, Tim pretends not to understand the financial reports and denies any knowledge of the issue. His feigned ignorance stalls the investigation and shifts the focus away from him, showcasing how pretending not to know can be a powerful evasive tactic. Overloading information. Information overload is manipulation of cognitive capacity and decision-making. Its attributes are overwhelming, confusion, paralysis, distraction. Often use symbols, pile of papers, overflowing inbox, spinning wheel. Overloading information is a manipulation technique where the manipulator floods the victim with excessive information, making it difficult for them to process and make decisions. This tactic creates confusion and can distract from the core issues, giving the manipulator an advantage. During a negotiation, Carol overwhelms her opponent with a barrage of complex data and legal jargon. Unable to process all the information, her opponent agrees to unfavorable terms. This demonstrates how overloading information can be used to manipulate decision-making processes. Negative reinforcement is manipulation of behavior and motivation. Its attributes are avoidance learning, fear, coercion, conditioning. Often use symbols, whip, red light, alarm bell. Negative reinforcement is a manipulation technique where the manipulator removes an unpleasant stimulus in response to the desired behavior, conditioning the victim to comply to avoid negative outcomes. This tactic relies on fear and avoidance to control behavior. A parent, Mary, scolds her child, Alex, for not doing homework until Alex complies. Once Alex starts doing homework, the scolding stops. Over time, Alex learns to do homework promptly to avoid the unpleasant experience, illustrating how negative reinforcement can condition behavior. Emotional blackmail is manipulation of emotions and decisions. Its attributes are coercion, threats, guilt, fear. Often use symbols, black envelope, broken heart, chain. Emotional blackmail is a manipulation technique where the manipulator uses threats and emotional coercion to force the victim into compliance. This tactic exploits the victim's emotions, such as fear, guilt, and obligation, to control their actions. A friend, Laura, tells Ben that if he doesn't lend her money, she'll have no choice but to drop out of college. Feeling guilty and fearful of the consequences, Ben lends her the money despite his own financial struggles. This showcases how emotional blackmail manipulates emotions to achieve compliance. Playing the victim is manipulation of sympathy and guilt. Its attributes are self-pity, guilt induction, blame shifting, sympathy. Often use symbols, teardrop, broken heart, sad face. Playing the victim is a manipulation technique where the manipulator exaggerates or fabricates their own suffering to gain sympathy and manipulate others. This tactic is used to induce guilt in the victim and to shift blame away from the manipulator. After a heated argument, Lisa tells everyone how hurt and mistreated she feels by her friend, Jack. She portrays herself as the victim, garnering sympathy and support from others. This shifts the blame onto Jack and isolates him, making Lisa appear innocent and blameless, highlighting the manipulative nature of playing the victim.